Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of New Mexico. This is one of these rare examples of what I like to call dirt cheap dirt, land that we were able to offer you guys for less than $1,000. And this is particularly special because this is a full 1 acre of land that we have for under $1,000. Typically, if we manage to get anything that we can sell at this price range, it's usually a quarter or half acre lot. So this is a really good deal, and I will tell you that when we get these and when we list these, they tend to sell pretty quickly. So if this is something that you're interested in, I would act fast on this. All right. With all that said, let's get to details, guys. This is reference number LNM-0008B, like Bravo. Located in Luna County in the southern part of the state, just bordering the U.S.-Mexico border. This is 1 acre of land in the Deming Ranchettes subdivision. This 1 acre is a combination of 2 adjacent half-acre lots, and as you saw up top, this 1 acre is priced at $900. Let's pull this up on a map, show you guys exactly where this is. As with all of our properties, come back down here, click any one of these coordinates, and we'll bring it up here on the Google Maps. So let's talk about Deming itself, and then we will get into property specifics. For those of you who don't know, Luna County is a little square county here on the southern part of the state. This is basically an outline of the property. It goes from the Mexico border to just north of the I-10 up here. The county seat is Deming. The most populous part of the county is Deming, and as you can see when we zoom in here, there's a dense concentration of people up here just right by the highway. So Deming Ranchettes itself is a subdivision that occupies not just this area up here, but it really goes all the way down west of what I call the goose egg over here. Occupies all this space, occupies a lot of the region up here close to Rockhound State Park, and occupies about halfway down the goose egg on the east side here. So all of this up here is Deming Ranchettes. I like this subdivision for 3 reasons. I've discussed this in other videos, but I'll talk about it here if you haven't seen those. The first is that when you have a subdivision like this, typically it's the areas closer to the major city that get developed, and the rest of it just sort of gets left undeveloped. No utilities, poorly maintained roads, nobody lives out there, etc., etc. That is not the case with Deming Ranchettes. Not only is there power really all throughout the subdivision, everything that I laid out for you earlier, but as you'll see when you zoom in on a region like this, which is whatever, 10, 15 miles south of Deming itself, you'll see there are people living out here, there's homes, obviously there's power. And of course, all of these roads are well maintained. I don't know if it's necessarily well maintained or if it's just it's such an arid climate that these things the roads don't get that bad out here. But whatever the case, they are accessible by really any vehicle type. The third major thing that I like about Deming Ranchettes is that it's one of these areas where all of the lots, when the developers chopped it all up, they chopped it into half-acre lots, but they sold them 2 at a time. So pretty much everybody out here, whether they're a first-generation owner of that land dating back to the 60s or whether a second or third-generation owner, they've got at least a minimum of 1 acre of land. This is important because, as you've probably heard in New Mexico, specifically in regions that don't have city utilities like down here where the property is, they say you need at least 3/4 of an acre to build on the land. That's not entirely true, but it helps. It helps as far as wells. It helps as far as septic, a conventional septic system. It just becomes more affordable and easier to execute if you have more than 3/4 of an acre. So, as this entire region are all 1 acre lots, or basically are all 1 acre lots, what you have is a region that is more likely to expand in the years to come because so many people can build on it, can build conventional homes, the conventional wells and conventional septic systems and so on and so forth. So, point being that it's an excellent property just as far as a cheap piece of land to buy to build a home on or park a trailer or something like that. But it's also a good investment property. You can buy it now. If you hold on to it 5-10 years, it's probably going to, well, it's certainly going to be worth a lot more than $900. We'll put it that way. You can buy it for $900 right now and resell it for more. But it's an area that is likely to develop. Anywho, with all that said, guys, the subject property itself is right here. It straddles between Baita Street Southwest and Santa Roca Road Southwest. And if you come back to our listing page here, you can see a sort of Google Earth overlay of the sort of size, shape, location of the property. Unfortunately, Google Maps is not set up with a plat overlay of Deming Ranchettes. So you can't really make it out here, but if you come back to the listing page here, you'll see this is basically the amount of real estate that you're going to be owning out here. This is what 1 acre looks like in this region. And actually, if you zoom in on some of the neighboring lots, this is an example of a half-acre lot right here. Here's another half. Here's another half. So you can at least get a sense of what the first half acre is going to look like. Obviously, that first half acre is here off Baida. The second, the adjacent one, is here off Santa Roca. FYI. Now, let's go to the photo gallery and just talk about what this area looks like here. As with all of our properties, these are photos from the exact property itself. Very first thing you see is what the road conditions are like out here. Obviously, this can be traversed by any type of vehicle. You don't just need a four-wheel drive or a giant truck or something. If you've got a little Honda, you'll be able to make it out here. Additionally, another thing that jumps out at you as you look at these photos is that you've got these beautiful views of the Florida mountains here in the background. Really, the entire subdivision has these views because it surrounds that mountain range. Additionally, what you see here is that aside from a little bit of brush, a few trees and things like that, this is overall a pretty flat, pretty buildable piece of land. Very easy to build something on without having the major expense up front of having to grade the property, excavate, do a lot of landscaping, whatever. Not too rocky, not too hilly, just nice flat terrain that's easy to build on. Additionally, when you look at these photos, what you can see is that there are homes in the near distance, such as this one, and they all have power hooked up to them. I just want to show you guys here on the map. You can typically see where power lines are. If you kind of zoom in, you can kind of make out. Let me try to find a power line for you. All right, well, just trust me, guys. They're here. They're here. Up here, for instance, you can kind of see power lines up along top. This is probably a power line. Point being, the subject property itself does not have power on it. That being said, there is power very close by. Obviously, well, here's a power line. Let me point this out, guys. So this would be a power line right here on this property. So you're roughly about a half acre away from power right here. If your property line begins here, this is the nearest property. This is the nearest power line right here. But additionally, the neighboring lots, the adjacent lots, they all have power as well. So likely not difficult to get hooked up to the grid out here. Not difficult and not too expensive. And of course, you'll see more of this if you explore the photo gallery. One more thing I just want to point out to you guys down here, just below the photo gallery, we have a drone video. This is not necessarily from the property itself. It's just from all around Deming Ranchettes. But it'll give you an excellent sense of what the terrain and the surroundings are like out there. It's much like what you just looked at here in this photo gallery. Anyway, with all that said, just a couple of the things I want to point out to you guys. If you come up here, you click on these CCRs, it's going to bring up a PDF right here. Deming Ranchettes consists of roughly, 200 units of land. A unit is, let's say, a couple hundred lots, right? And each unit has their own covenants, their own restrictions. This particular property is located in Unit 49. So these are the exact covenants for Unit 49. Now, I should mention, there's a lot of overlap in these covenants for the whatever 200 some units that they have out there. You're not going to find a lot of difference. But the point is, if you read through this, specifically this section, single family dwelling, this has to do mostly with Unit 49. You'll notice like this is a trailer unit down here, but that's only Units 6, 38, and 48. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the point is that this is the section most germane to the subject property. All fairly obvious things, fairly, don't make too much noise, farm animals, things like that. There is one thing that I want to point out to you guys here, which is that minimum square footage on a structure on this land, no less than 600 square feet. For all you guys who contact us all the time asking about where you can build a tiny house, depending on your definition of tiny, this is probably a good candidate for that. Out here in this region, you could probably build a tiny house. Now, of course, always recommend before you go and do something like that, or before you give us roughly $1,000 to live your dream of a tiny house, give a call to local planning and zoning and ask them. At the very least, even if it is allowed, there's probably additional permits that go with it, additional things you need to know. So it's always nice to reach out to these people in advance, talk to them about that. They're going to be an excellent source of information on that. Blah, blah, blah. Additionally, I also want to point out, guys, we also down here in County Contacts have some other important links. PNM, local utility company. Click on this. It'll bring up their website. If you want to get a sense of cost as far as getting hooked up to the grid, as far as what that is going to entail, you can say, hey, I'm buying some land in a region that you guys service. I think they service the entire state, but it's down in Deming. You've got power lines pretty close to my lot. I'm curious to know what I have to do to get power extended out to the property, probably 1 or 2 lots over. What do I have to do? And they can give you a sense of that. Additionally, we also have links here for the New Mexico Office of the State Engineer. Anybody who's going to drill a well in the state of New Mexico needs to talk to these people. And they obviously are going to be an excellent resource. I should just point out, again, as I noted, this area is not served by city utilities as far as water. But when I see this many people living in one small region like this, really all throughout here, I know that the water table is fairly shallow, I believe is the good one. So accessible, so probably not too expensive to drill a well, but, you know, do your research, guys. Call local well drilling companies. I believe Elbrock services this region. Call them, talk to them, find out what it's going to cost to get a well drilled. How many feet down do you have to go? What's the cost per foot, etc. By the way, quick thing just with this property I want to point out that I didn't mention earlier. This is very close here to Columbus Road, aka Highway 11. You are, hang on, how far are you? What are you, like a mile and a half, I think? Yeah, about a mile and a half to Columbus Road. This is a major arterial that really goes from Deming up here in the north, down here to Columbus in the south, and then obviously down here to the U.S.-Mexico border. So you're going to have easy commutes if you work down in Columbus, if you work up in Deming. Obviously, you're not too far away from either. If you right-click and measure distance just to see, hello, hang on. Try it again. If you right-click and measure distance up to a place like this, you can see, okay, it's 10 miles as the crow flies, something like that. So maybe it's a 12 or 15-minute drive along country roads. But point is, you will be able to easily access both of those towns. By the way, if we put the little guy here on the map, you can see what Columbus Road looks like. As noted, yeah, pretty nice country road, well maintained. So probably not difficult to get up to Deming or to nearby Columbus. Blah blah blah. Anyway, with all that said, guys, two more things I just want to point out. If you like Deming Ranchettes, if you like everything I'm telling you about this, but you don't like this lot for whatever reason, click here to see our master list of all Deming Ranchettes properties. It'll bring up this spreadsheet, which we're constantly updating every time that we add new properties. Right now, these are coming soon, but by the time this video goes live, they'll be on the website. We've got a couple lots here, a couple more down here. Everything in blue is sold. Everything in white is available, and there'll be more properties in white coming very soon, I promise. Anyway, all right, guys. So if this is something that you want to purchase, very easy to do. Come up here, click the Buy Now button. It'll take you to secure checkout. $900 plus a $150 doc prep fee. $1,050 total, buys the property for that amount of money. We deed it into your name. Those are all of the costs associated with this. So give us the name you want in the deed, name or names, plural. Tax address down here. Agree to the terms of service, click next, and on the next page you're going to enter credit or debit card information. And once you check out and give us the money, as far as we are concerned, the property is yours. Practically speaking, we're going to write a new deed. We're going to get you to approve it. Once you tell us it's good, we're going to autograph, notarize it, mail it off to the county to be recorded. County records, and then they forward it on to you. So from start to finish, it'll be about 3 weeks before you have that document in your hands. That being said, as noted, once you give us the money, we don't care what you do. You want to go out there, start building, start, camping or whatever, you will be able to do that. Anyway, all right. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment here on the YouTube, shoot us an email, support@hemingwayland.com, or give us a call, 702-919-7170. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.